Hello, hello, lovely listeners of the Take It With a Grain of Sand podcast. Welcome to episode 30 of the podcast. Wow. Ricky, we've been doing this for 30 episodes now.
Yes, we have.
That's crazy. I can't believe it. It's been 30 episodes and we've got a special one for you today. Still 3 segments,
Yeah,
but there are 3 great
but
segments.
but for this session, we're not really gonna say anything.
We're not going to say anything.
We're not gonna say anything in the intro. We are just gonna actually let you listen to what we have to say.
All right.
Alright. Yeah, we kind of got a little bit rusty. Haven't done this in a while. It's time to get back into basics. So, without further ado, let's get started with our first segment. And welcome back to another recurring segment called Nextdoor with Mickey P.
Yep.
Well, that was pretty awkward.
Yeah, okay, let's get started. So last night I was up looking at Nextdoor as I do quite a bit. And I came across yet another gem on one of my favorite segments that we do. I'm just gonna jump into it and read it to you. You should see it on the screen right now. It says from Tamara, however she pronounces that. Does anyone know this person? And there's a picture of a guy. All right. It says, does anyone know this person? He rang my doorbell, then walked around my yard. Went to, it's all chopped up weird. I'm reading it as it's written. It's not because I can't read. Went to the gate on the side of my house that goes to my backyard. He reached over the fence and tried to lift the latch. The latch was left in the upright position. The latch is padlocked. There's a no trespassing sign posted right next to where he stood to reach over my gate. He had some type of safety vest. He had on some type of safety vest, no lettering on it. He parked a personal vehicle in front of my house. No sign or lettering on the vehicle. No notice or letter left at the door. Neighbors saw him and he was on doorbell camera. That's a lot of nerve. Why is someone on my property? Tamara's pretty fired up about this guy. He's I'm not gonna show the image here, but he kind of looks like, well, what do you think, Ricky? He
Uh,
kind of looks like he's a white dude with like
mm,
medium light hair, glasses, a little bit of facial hair. I don't know. He doesn't look very suspect.
no, he kind of looks weird.
He kind of looks like a nerd.
Yeah, weirdo nerd.
Looks like a weirdo nerd. Okay, so here we go. As you all know, it's the comments that make the post.
Right.
So here we go. Tony, do you have anything like an electrical box behind your gate? I do, but the workers normally give a heads up before going back there. Tamara? Who knows? Who cares? Yes, I do, but that was my first thought. But he was driving a personal vehicle, no visible ID, and didn't leave any type of notice. Blah blah blah. You know, people are giving a lot of ideas of like what it could be. Paul says he probably works for the city. He should have contacted you first. Tamara says yes, thank you. I thought so too. Um, See, my thoughts here was that it was just a worker. I'm gonna keep reading because there's some very good theories here. Like Jemmy, who said, "Yeah, that's kind of creepy." Yeah, dot. That's kind of creepy. Dot. Hmm. Hmm.
Why? You talk like that.
Writes like that. I thought our utility folks have like lanyards. Why put like? Jimmy types how people speak, which is strange. Like lanyards with their ID/card hanging around their neck or something, so we know they're legit? Question mark. Tamara says, "Yes, I agree with you. That's why I'm wondering what he was up to. Why did he pick my house? It's been bothering me." Robin replied to Jimmy saying, "Even with the lanyard, how do you know it's legit? I would also ask for a card with the utility number to look up so I can verify their employee number." I don't, I, okay. Who does all that, but okay. Mariella says they're probably checking the gas lines. A few weeks ago, someone came to check ours and found a leak, called the gas company, and they came and fixed it. He wasn't wearing a uniform and was driving his personal car. Tamara says, did he have any identification saying he was doing work for the gas company? I've never heard of Virginia Natural Gas to contract work out like that. I'd be apprehensive to allow someone around my gas lines without prior authorization from them. Marielle says he wasn't from the gas company. He had a badge. I don't remember what it said. Mariella's not all that concerned like Tamara is. She
No.
just let this man into the house and do what he had to do. Um, but Tamara's very apprehensive. Marcus replied, "The people who check gas lines drive a Virginia gas vehicle. The person who came here, Mariella, is still defending her actions and letting this random person on her property by saying the person who came here last wasn't. I'm pretty sure he was subcontracted." And that is one of the theories. Now, here's where it gets juicy.
Okay.
Angela says, "Personal vehicle, exclamation point, exclamation point. The comments would be different if the young man was dot dot dot." Kind of sad face emoji.
Oh no. No, I know exactly where this is going.
Oh man, Angela really turned up the heat in these comments. The comments would be different if the young man was, well, what? Why don't you just say it,
Yeah,
Angela?
just say it.
Say it.
Y'all
Don't
know what you're gonna
censor it.
say.
We know what you just say it. Write the comment and then censor it.
Yeah.
You might as well just kept it to yourself. Like, why you even say anything? But Jill replies and says someone always had to bring it into the conversation. Angela said someone had to. Angela's something else. Angela's a pistol, bro.
What?
Judith says if you see someone on your property lurking around with no badge, etc., does it really matter what color they are? Give me a break. Angela said, color? Check mark emoji.
What? You can't play dumb.
She's acting like she doesn't know what she said.
No.
Judith replies, "I'm sorry, is white not a color?"
Ah, what?
Angela said, "Praying. That's it, and that's all. Praying." What does that mean? Judith said, "Well, pray for common sense, will ya?"
Common sense. You know he's not wrong though.
Angela said, I'm going to pray for everyone." Zachary said, "Well, duh." Oh man. And then Zachary made his own separate comment
Okay.
that says, "Is that a pedophile mustache? Could be the shade."
Again, it's all not wrong.
Don replied to Zachary saying, "Slim Shady, perhaps?"
uh,
Slim Shady, perhaps. Now that's funny.
yep.
Stewart said, "I think it's the real Slim Shady." Oh man, okay. And so yeah, that was the fired up part. You know, it goes on to say like sometimes there's other comments saying like, you know, sometimes people just put on vests just to look official to gain access to your property, right?
Yes.
That's like the scam. So like you can just go buy one of those reflective vests. Anyone can buy them. You see bicyclists with them sometimes. So it's like it doesn't really mean anything that someone just shows up with a safety vest and maybe a hard hat. Like that doesn't mean that they work for whoever they're saying that they work for. And
Yes.
you should not give people access to your property just on that type of basis.
Yeah.
So there's some level-headed comments here. It's just, oh man, the who was it?
Angela.
Angela. Angela. Personal vehicle. The comments would be different if the young man was dot dot dot. Someone always had to bring it into the conversation. People really will just say whatever
Yes.
online.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about the internet is how like people really just say what they're thinking, even if they would never say it in person.
Oh yeah, they're just comfortable. They're behind the screen.
Behind the
No,
screen.
no one can actually smack some common sense in their head.
Mm-hmm. All we can do is pray. Pray for some common sense.
Yes. Just gotta pray.
Pray for common sense. Okay. I thought that was kind of a short one because the comments weren't that crazy. But I think that does it for this next door segment.
Yeah. And for this segment, we are going to be doing a very first, I think it's first. Oh, a very first tech review on the new iPhone 16 Pro.
Yeah, a tech review coming from two people who are not even close to being tech experts.
Nope.
We're not techie people, but we like cool gadgets, and that's why I think that qualifies us to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. iPhone 16 just came out about a week ago now, and I pre-ordered one in Desert Titanium, the new color.
Yeah.
Ricky also pre-ordered an iPhone 16.
Oh my god. They ended up going out of stock. Just a few days. I didn't order on day one.
You pre-ordered on like
Yeah.
day 3.
Yeah, it was day 3 and it was already sold out.
Already sold out.
Yeah.
That quick.
Yeah, I had to wait until like October 16th.
So mine actually came in on release day, came right to my house. And now I've been using it for what, like 8 days now. So I want to give like my first impressions now that I've been consistently using it for over a week. I I think it's actually it's a big upgrade. I'm coming from an iPhone 13 standard. And I've really noticed the difference. I've never had a Pro iPhone before, so I can definitely tell the difference between like having the more premium version.
Yes.
So how about we start from the very beginning? The appearance of the phones. It's very nice. So there's something that they're doing now with the new iPhones that the Apple logo on the back is like barely visible now. Have you noticed that? It's
Yeah,
not
kind
it's
of.
not flashy. What I've seen like tech reviews on YouTube of the phone, and like every time they show the backs of the phones, it looks like the Apple logo is being blurred. it
Yeah.
it looks like they're blurring it out, but in real life it's just very subtle. It's not this big shiny thing like it used to be. And I kind of like it. I kind of like the subtlety of it. I think it gives it a more premium look. I think a big thing that Apple has been doing lately is making their logo less in your face, more subdued than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to advertise like they used to.
Yeah.
That's something I've also seen tech reviewers discussing, like how the AirPods Max don't have a giant Apple logo on them on the ears.
Yeah.
They don't need to advertise like they used to. Or how like the new MacBooks don't have the light up Apple logo like they used to. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
They don't have that anymore because they don't need to blast in everyone's face the Apple like everybody knows Apple now.
Yes, everybody.
Whereas people didn't back in the day. Now they're like the biggest tech company ever. Everybody knows Apple, so they don't have to put that stuff out there. So I really like that on the new iPhones, as opposed to my iPhone 13 that had a silver. I had the product red,
Yes.
and it had a silver Apple logo. You couldn't not see it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas now the Apple logos are the same color as the phones.
Yeah.
So you can't really see it.
I think it was like on like. How do I product red? I have like an iPhone 12. It's like you can actually subtly see it, like the logo.
I think they're getting more and more subtle. Okay, so then there's that.
Yeah.
The feel, oh man, is very nice on the hand. The material, the titanium mixed with the ceramic shield, it's a very premium feel.
Yes.
It's very nice on the hand. The edges are pretty soft. There's a lot of people who are no case people. There's a whole no case community.
Oh yeah, right.
I've looked at r slash iPhone, and there's a lot of people who are very much against using a case. I am not one of those people. I always have a case on every phone I've pretty much ever had.
Yeah.
So, the feel then doesn't really matter as much
No.
because you're just gonna put a case on it. I'm just gonna have a case on mine, so it doesn't really matter. How about we get to the feature that really sets this phone apart from any iPhone that's ever been made?
Yes.
The one thing they've actually done differently. The camera button.
Yes.
I've actually really enjoyed having the camera button. It was a very fortunate timing that the day after I got my new iPhone, we went to the zoo.
Yes.
And I wanted to take pictures, and it ended up being really convenient. Just hit the button, like right there from the lock screen. Hit the button, you're in the camera. Press the button again, you're taking a picture. And what I really like is that the button is also pressure sensitive. If you press it lightly, you can do different settings. Mine, I think it's automatically set to zoom, which I think is just the most useful one for my purposes. So I've got it set to zoom, so then I could zoom in, because sometimes the animals are kind of far away. I just hit that button, scrolled it a little bit, I could zoom in, press the button hard, and take a picture. And it's like a camera.
Yes. Well, that's
which
pretty neat.
I think it's pretty neat. People are calling it gimmicky, but I don't know, I really liked it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like the camera button. Now let's get to the issue with that. Okay? The issue that I'm having with the camera button is not the camera button itself. It is the cases. Let's go back to phone cases. What I've noticed, and I've seen also on the r/iPhone subreddit, is people complaining about how there's three options for cases when it comes to covering the camera button. The first one is like this big, like C-shaped cutout in the case that goes just completely around the camera button. Okay?
Oh.
Then there's the second option where there's like a pill shaped cutout around the camera button. That's the case that I currently have, a little
Yeah.
hole. The problem is that the camera button is supposed to be flush. It's flush with the side of the phone.
Yeah.
It's flat. If you just have these cutouts, it's now like deeper and it makes it harder to use versus it being flat. So
Oh.
then that brings me to the third option, the cases that actually cover the camera button and they have the pressure sensitive cover
Yes.
over them. These are so hard to find. That's my issue. There's like hardly anyone is making cases that cover the camera button. I've only seen a few, and I've found it really frustrating because then those few are actually like, most of them are expensive. Like Apple owns Beats. Beats
Yes.
is now making phone cases. You can buy a
Well.
Beats case.
Well. For how much?
$50.
$50.
But they cover the camera button.
Yes.
I also I've come to prefer cases that cover the cameras as well. And what I've noticed is that because I want to, the cameras is the big selling feature on here, so I don't
Yeah.
want them scratched or anything. So my case does cover the cameras. Finding a case that covers the camera button and the cameras it just doesn't seem to exist. I found a case cheaper on Amazon that covers the camera button, but it doesn't cover the cameras. It doesn't cover the speakers or anything.
Oh.
I kind of want to cover everything. So I think I'm just going to have to wait until some more manufacturers produce cases that are going to do what I want.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I'll just have to be patient. I just have to wait on that one. But so all in all, I have enjoyed the camera button so far. I really haven't used it since that day a week ago that we went to the zoo. I'm not a huge picture taker, but what I do think is neat is that coming soon, Snapchat will be able to use the camera button.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
They specifically mentioned Snapchat in the keynote. So I know that then I'm sure other apps like Instagram, TikTok, whatever is also going to be using the camera button eventually.
Yeah.
But Apple specifically mentioned Snapchat in the keynote. So that's definitely happening, but it doesn't work yet.
Okay.
If you go into Snapchat and you press the camera button, it opens your camera, your phone camera. So it doesn't work yet. However, that should be coming soon. And I'm excited because I still am a Snapchat user. I know a lot of people are not. A lot of people have moved on.
Yeah, I mean, I use it sometimes, but not that much.
I love Snapchat. I always have, and I will continue to use it. I don't care if that makes me old or lame. I like Snapchat. All right, sue me. I like Snapchat.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. You do you.
Okay, so then that brings us to the action button. Now, the action button was introduced, I think, on the iPhone 13 Pro. If I'm not mistaken, it was either 13 or 14 Pro. But it was only on the Pro side of the lineup. And the action button replaces, if you don't know, it replaces the mute switch, the silent mode switch. And you can have there's different options of things that you can program the action button to do, including putting your phone on silent. Now, I have not changed it. That is the default setting. And I've looked at the different options. And my issue with the action button is that all the options of things that you can do with it can be done in other places. You know what? I'm going to go into my phone right now and pull up the settings for the action button. See, maybe not everybody uses they don't silent their phones. I have to silent my phone for work. So I guess if you don't ever need to silence your phone, then you don't even need it. You don't need that. There's also a focus mode option to automatically switch to whatever focus mode you set it to do. You
Yeah.
could also, which I think is hilarious, program it to be the camera.
So okay, so there's like three ways to get to the camera.
So many ways to get to the camera app, it's ridiculous. What I need two. That's two physical buttons.
Yes.
Two physical buttons that takes me to the camera. Perfect. Just what I needed.
Yep.
Two buttons on my phone that'll take me to the camera. It can also do flashlight, which I could see being useful.
Oh, that's definitely useful.
I don't know if I just found this out recently. Apple bought Shazam. So there's like a whole bunch of ways you can do Shazam now, including programming your action button to go to Shazam. I completely did not know about that. Yeah, there's some other options in there, but the only one that you can't access any other way in the phone is silent mode. So for me, it just makes sense to have it be silent mode, which at that point might as well just have left the switch on there.
Yeah.
But I don't work for Apple. They don't listen to me. What else do I like? So there's the action button. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that it's a button instead of a switch. That does make it easier to use.
Yes.
It's kind of it has been kind of annoying over the years having to remember which way. You have to look at it to know which way to switch it. I can never remember which way is silent and which way is not.
Wait,
So
no, I already figured it. I kind of figured it
I
out.
can't keep it straight. But yes, so I do think that that's neat. I've really been enjoying Dynamic Island, though.
Yeah.
That was introduced on the iPhone 13 Pro, and I never had that. I had the regular iPhone 13.
Yeah.
It has been so neat how it just like gets wider, it gets longer, doing Face ID that shows up in the dynamic island, being on a phone call, having music or podcast playing, the little the little picture, the little image
Yes.
for your album artwork
Yeah.
comes up real tiny in the dynamic island.
Yeah.
It's very neat.
And plus, to be honest, Apple should have already had this when they actually had full screen. It's like they advertise the iPhone like it's just gonna be like a screen, but then when we actually look at the last phone to use it, the iPhone 13, it wasn't like that.
What do you mean?
The top, like this top right here.
The notch.
Yeah, the notch. That's what it's called. I forgot the name. It just had that notch. It's just like it's not really full screen.
It's not.
Like
And the thing is, with the 13, they advertised that the notch had gotten smaller from the 12 and 11. It was just narrower, but it was also longer.
yes, like it's not
It was
really
no good. It's just really annoying. But with the with this new since the 13 Pro, you can get more of a full screen view, and that annoying little part of the screen that you can't use for anything has become like an interactive part of the experience.
Yes.
They found a way to use it in like a useful way, which I think is really neat.
Yes.
I've really been enjoying it. I think it looks a lot better than just having a little cutout in the shape of the phone. Like, I don't know. The notch, So, that brings us to more of like the inside of the phone. So, my issue, I've got a gripe. And it's something that I've seen Marquez Brownlee talk about plenty. The big part of the advertising if you've seen any commercial or advertising billboards, anything for the iPhone 16 Pro,
Yeah.
they all mention Apple Intelligence.
Apple Intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I think they actually mentioned that, and I barely remember it.
It's been really in your face. That's
Yeah.
all they're talking about is the Apple Intelligence. The issue with that is that Apple Intelligence is not out, and it won't be out for months.
So like, what's with the hype? Like, you hype it up, and it's like, oh yeah, it's not gonna be released in like a few months after the
It's
phones drop.
it's not it's not on the phone today, and it won't be on the phone tomorrow.
Mm.
And they made such a big deal about it. They talked about it a lot in the keynote. It was all about, even Tim Cook himself was talking about Apple Intelligence. It's not even out.
Wow.
So I can't even, you can't comment on that yet because it's not ready, and it won't be ready probably until like November is what I've heard.
Yeah.
That's really annoying. Like, why are they advertising it? Like the phones are gonna have it when you buy them,
Yes.
but they don't. Super annoying, super disappointing. I Ever since they first mentioned Apple Intelligence back at the WWDC, I was really excited about that because it sounds cool.
Yeah.
The different features that you'll be able to use, and they mentioned it in this keynote a whole lot. None of that's available. None of it.
I mean, at least they should have just put like a release date.
No release date officially.
Oh.
It's rumored to be available in November, as far as I know. Maybe there is a date. As far as I know, there's not been an official announcement from Apple as to when Apple Intelligence will be out. So, can't comment on any of that, but there are some neat new features. The phones are more customizable.
Oh.
Now I'm getting more into iOS 18 than what's specifically on the iPhone 16 Pro. Because
Yeah.
I think I've pretty much talked about everything that's like exclusive.
Yeah.
But iOS 18's been very neat.
Yeah, it really has been.
I've really enjoyed it. I don't know if you seen this, Ricky. If you go into your flashlight now, you can adjust the brightness and the narrowness of the beam.
Hmm. Yeah, no,
You can make it dimmer, brighter, wider, and narrower.
I think they did have like a dimmer and brighter, but a narrow and wider.
It doesn't really, you can't really tell. I don't think it looks much different.
I mean, oh.
But yeah, that's one of the new features. You can customize your control center.
Oh yeah, I definitely could customize mine really well.
So I think that's cool. What else is new?
Well, there are two uh defaults pages. There's like the normal control center, and then there's one specifically made for music.
Yeah, so the control center is now 3 pages. The first page is what you're used to.
Yes.
The second page is whatever audio is playing. And the third page is really just the first page expanded. Just the settings expanded.
Oh, yeah, right. I got rid of that. Oh, well, to me, I feel like just the first two is actually useful.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even see a point in the second one because you can just in the original control center you can just hold down on the audio that's playing and it'll just get bigger the same way. It looks the same.
Uh, Actually, I think you can actually get rid of it now.
I also like that now there's an off button here in the control center.
Yeah, I do notice that.
So you don't have to hold down your two buttons to turn your phone off if you don't want to. You can just press that. I thought that that's pretty cool.
Yes.
I also haven't mentioned the fluidity of the screen on the iPhone 16 Pro. It's like way smoother. the response time between touch and the action is faster. Everything's faster, which takes some getting used to with things moving on the screen faster.
I think you can actually, adjust that in the
I
settings.
think you can, but I like it. I kind of like that it's a little smoother, it's more responsive. There's a lot of people that don't like it.
Yes.
They don't want it faster. I really like it. I think it gives it a more premium experience. You can also adjust your iOS 18. Back to that, you can adjust your lock screen. I mean your home screen icons to be different colors. You
Yeah.
can tint them to all be a certain color to look better with your wallpaper
Yeah. I use
if you want to. I have not used that. What I've been using is the dark mode.
That's what I was also using.
I really like the dark mode on all apps. I I'm a big advocate of dark mode on
Yo,
everything.
now me too.
Every app I use is in dark mode pretty much. Besides,
Yes.
do I have my Snapchat in dark mode? No.
Oh.
Okay, that's the one thing. I don't have my Snapchat in dark mode, but everything else is in dark mode. And I've really been enjoying it. Everything looking a little darker, a
Yes.
little more mysterious. I don't know. I think it looks better. What else is new?
You can actually. I think I heard you can actually arrange apps any way
Oh
you want.
yeah, you can put apps on the bottom of the screen now.
Yeah. To me, I haven't really used that
No.
a lot.
I haven't really used that so much, but it's neat.
Yeah.
If you have a certain type of wallpaper, there's a subject in it, like you got a picture of your dog, you could arrange your apps around the dog,
Yeah.
which that's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Makes your phone look better. Cool. What something I've actually really liked going back to camera and photos is that now you can adjust a photo after you've taken it as if you've changed the settings in real time. And by that, what I mean is that you can, after you take the picture, you can change the exposure, the lighting, whether or not it's in portrait mode,
Okay.
all of that after the fact, which I really like as someone that's not a photographer and I don't know how to get the settings right when I'm taking a picture. That's fine. I can just take the picture the best I can
Yeah.
and then adjust it, play with the settings later to get it to look its best.
Yeah.
Which I think is really neat. So I'm gonna show you this. Ricky.
Alright.
Selfie I took. I did not take it in portrait mode.
Okay.
I can add portrait mode later, and now after it loads, there we go. Now it looks cooler.
Oh.
So
Yo.
I really like that, and you can go into the settings and adjust the lighting, the coloring, everything that you missed when you took the picture originally.
Okay.
So I think that that's really cool to, especially to add to the functionality of the camera button.
Yeah.
So I can just hit the camera button, take a picture really quick, as long as it's what I want and it looks good, okay? I can capture these photos really quickly and not have to worry about adjusting the settings.
Yeah.
And I can play with it later when I have the time and get it to look exactly the way I want it to. I really like that. So I'm looking forward to playing with that some more, because I think that that's really cool. And I'm sure Android has had this forever.
Uh, Android's had a lot of things.
Like the one of the Apple Intelligence features that they were talking about was finally being able to remove background things out of a picture. Android's had that forever. Android's had that for years. And that's still not on the iPhone.
Nope.
It will be coming with Apple Intelligence whenever that comes out. So, yeah, finally on iPhone you'll be able to, remove photo bombers or, whatever's in the background of your picture.
Yeah.
Finally be able to get that out. Taking a picture on an iPhone.
Okay.
Just not yet. So I can't comment on that because it's
Yep.
not out yet. Um, I think that kind of wraps it up.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate the iPhone 16 Pro?
Scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to say a 7.
Oh,
7.3.
okay.
Because they keep talking about Apple Intelligence and that's not available, and that's a huge part of it.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
All those Apple Intelligence features that are supposed to tie in, like at the very beginning of the keynote, I've already mentioned Tim Cook. Tim Cook said the iPhone 16 is the first iPhone that was built from the ground up for Apple Intelligence. Okay, the phone's built for Apple Intelligence, but Apple Intelligence ain't on it. So I think that really reduces the score. I can't be fully satisfied with this phone until I can try the Apple Intelligence features. I just can't. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't give it a 10 before I even have access to the Apple Intelligence features. Um, People have been complaining about the camera button and accidentally pressing it. I haven't. I've had the phone for 8 days. I haven't done that a single time, so I don't know what they're doing. I'm happy with the camera button. I've not had any issues with it. I'm trying to think where else do you lose points. I've We didn't talk about MagSafe, but I've never used. I know my iPhone 13 had MagSafe on it. I never used it. So with this phone, I decided to finally lean into the MagSafe thing. Also, didn't mention the USB C.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever. It's got USB C instead of Lightning. Whatever. I had to get all new cords. Um, which that's all cool. You know what? I actually don't have that much to complain about. It's just the lack of Apple Intelligence. And so for that, because the battery life is also incredible. Um, it is a little heavier than my old phone, which I've quickly have adjusted to it. Like after a few days, I've gotten used to the weight. So that's fine. I'm gonna say 8.7 then.
Oh, wow. Quite a bump.
Bumping it up. 8.7 because I can't do Apple Intelligence.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that wraps it up. If any of y'all got the iPhone 16 or 16 Pro, let us know what you thought of it. Cause I don't know, I really liked it. People are complaining it's not that much of an upgrade, but the thing is, who gets a new phone every year? Like it's not that much of an upgrade from a 15. But why would you get a 16 if you had a 15? And then you're gonna complain that it's not that different.
I guess people who upgrade every year.
There's people who upgrade every year. I just think that that's pointless and wasteful. But
Yes.
if you're coming from a 13 or older, I I think it's great.
Yeah.
So just if you're and if if you're coming from an older iPhone like I was and Ricky is, I I don't know. I really liked it. All in all,
Yeah.
thank you, Timmy. All right, for this segment, Ricky and I had an interesting evening last night, a special event, if you will. And we
Oh,
want to recount our experience with you.
yeah, that's
And
right.
before we get started, I just want to point out that we've been working on this episode for a long time. And we're now on the third segment. The first two we actually recorded in person together, and this one we're doing remotely
Yeah.
in two separate rooms. Okay. So, how about you kick it off, Ricky?
Oh yes. Um. Well, basically, in the city of New York, there was a comedy skit. Well, not comedy skit, comedy club, comedy show, whatever you call it. That we went to with a
And
very, I think, like A-list celebrity. You all know him.
ooh,
Oh, who? Well, the one and only Kevin Hart.
what are you talking
Now,
about?
what am I talking about?
We didn't go to New York.
I didn't say New York.
Oh, that's what it sounded like. You sounded like you said in the city of New York.
No. No, no, no. I said like the city of Norfolk.
Okay, see, yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, we went and saw Kevin Hart. He came to town last night, and man, it was such a great experience. I want to start from the very beginning though. The beginning of
Uh,
our experience, because we're talking about our own personal experience and what we brought to the show. And our personal experience started with, well, we also brought our mother along with us. And she wanted, the show started at 7. She wanted to leave at 2 so that we we could get parking downtown. So we left at 2, and then we hung out in downtown Norfolk. We went to good old MacArthur Mall. I thought MacArthur Mall had shut down a long time ago,
yeah, me
and
too.
it looked like it had.
Well,
That
now it looks like
place,
it looks like it's about to shut down.
it looks okay. Here's the comparison I made. If you watched The Last of Us, the scene where they go to the mall, this mall did not look that different. It looks post-apocalyptic. The mall looked like it was just about to be post-apocalyptic. Like it was dead. Like it was dead, dead. There were barely any stores still open. We spent a lot. We didn't even go into any stores. Like there was nothing to look at. Most of
Nope.
there was an H&M, there was a Zoomies, and there was a bunch of stores I didn't even know the names of. There was a few. And that's pretty much it. Like we spent a lot of the time going around pointing at stuff like what it used to be.
Yes.
Like, oh, that used to be the GameStop. That was the Johnny Rockets. That was the Van store. And that's like that's all gone. That's gone. That's gone. The food court only had like 4 places. There was an Auntie Anne's. We didn't go to it, but
Yeah.
I think we should have. I think that would have been a better lunch. Because we did go to the food court and eat, but I think we should have went to the Auntie Anne's, got some pretzels, some hot
Yeah.
dog pretzels or whatever they have in there. Um, yeah, there wasn't even a Cinnabon. You know a mall is dead if there's no Cinnabon. There's no Barnes and Noble. Like every mall has a Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
Every mall has a GameStop. Like they don't even have that. This place
No.
was deceased. I'm thinking brick and mortar is kind of done. But you know what's funny about MacArthur Mall is I was just talking about it with a coworker. She said she really wants it to stay open because she really likes the movie theater in there. And I was like,
Which?
yeah, girl, you gonna have to find another theater because this place is gone.
Yes.
And I was like, I mean, that's the only thing that's in it. Okay, it's got a movie theater. At most malls, I don't know of any malls I can think of that I've ever been to that had a movie theater. That maybe that's more common than I think. Oh no, Lynn Haven Mall has the AMC.
Yeah, but it's not really inside the mall.
It's not inside. So the MacArthur Mall's theater is inside the mall, and that is a different experience. That's the only thing that they have, though. They've got a movie theater. That's it.
Yeah.
So that place, if you like going to the MacArthur Mall movie theater, you're gonna have to find a new spot because this place is days from closing, I swear.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so then we had lunch and we hung out there for a little bit, looked around, and we were still too early. I mean, the doors didn't even open until 5:30. We were done at like 4:30. So then we had to like just hang out outside.
Yeah, yeah. Sit down on the bench
Just look at our phones.
and look at the scenery, like the trolley passed by.
Trolley? You mean the
Tro-
bus?
no, not the bus. It was like, what's the thing called? Like, it's connected to the tracks, but it's like not a train.
If it's connected to a track, it's gotta be a train. I don't know. I didn't
No,
see
it's
it.
like
I was looking at my phone.
how they made train sounds
Help him out
and
in the comments, y'all. What is that called? Because I don't know.
well, okay. For a second there, I just call it trolley, and it's like connected on the railings. I heard the sound, which it's just kind of strange to me. I live in the city of Virginia Beach, and it's like there used to be train tracks, but now the train station's closed down here, so we don't really actually hear stuff like that. So to hear it in that city, it's just kind of feels surreal.
Yeah, see, for me, I hear them all the time. I can hear it from my house. I can hear trains. I can hear it at work too. The tide runs right behind my office. So I hear trains constantly. And then there's a cargo train a few streets away, maybe like a half a mile away, and I can hear it from my house. So trains are like Norfolk is big train. You hear them, you
Yeah.
see them constantly. Virginia Beach doesn't really have that.
Yep.
Um, I guess we should kind of like okay, let's get to the part where so then they started letting us in. Um, and the first thing we had to do after they scanned my tickets was lock our phones in a bag.
Yep.
What did you think of that, Ricky? Because we've never done that before. I know that's actually a really
Yeah.
common thing.
Yeah, it
With
is.
comedy shows, that's something that they do. It's very common, but we've never been to something like that before where they took our phones. So what
No.
were your impressions of that?
Yeah, I didn't really mind it too much.
You're
I
okay with
was,
it?
yeah, I totally get it. No recordings.
I get it, but I we were so early. It felt like we didn't have anything to do. Like the doors opened at 5:30, but we had all the way until 7 o'clock. So it was
Yes.
like, oh my God, what are we gonna do for all this time without our phones? I I didn't like it. I wasn't gonna record. Even if I had my phone, I would not have recorded anything. You know what happens is that those people that do that have ruined it for everyone. If no one ever recorded a comedian without their consent, we would be able to use our phones at comedy shows. It's because people do that.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't have. I would have put my phone away as soon as the show started. I just wanted to have it so I could keep using it up until then. But no, it's because people can't just not record during a comedy show. They ruined it. So yeah, they gave us these bags. We had to stick our phones in them. They locked them. So then we did not have our phones the whole time. And then we went into the building. It was Chrysler Hall. For those not familiar, I don't. The last time I was there was many years ago. I don't even really remember it. It's a pretty nice venue in the downtown area, right next to the Scope Arena.
Yeah.
Um, and it is. I mean, it wasn't all that. I mean, it's nice. I think it needed some upgrades. Like, I think we needed
Mm,
maybe some new seats, some
yes.
some more modern
Definitely.
flooring, that kind of stuff. I wish they had cup holders because we got drinks. You know what was funny was that I went and I wanted a soda. I went and got a Starry because they had Pepsi products. And so I got because I specifically asked for that because I saw that it was in a bottle and I wanted a bottle. And what did they do? They opened up the bottle and poured it into a cup. I was like, what in the world is going on? Why did this just happen? Can someone explain this to me? Is there a reason for that? They opened the bottle and poured it into an open cup. So then, and it was like up to the brim. At first, it was spilling on me when I was trying to walk with it. It was
Yeah.
spilling all over my hand.
Oh yeah, that's what you actually do the slip or the sip. We have to
I
just sip it
was
down.
trying. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to sip it and I was trying to walk. And the issue was we were like in the middle of the section, in the middle of the row, but we were so early, the people that were on the end were already there.
Yep.
So, but the people on the row behind us weren't there yet. So I had to get out. I climbed over my seat up to the row behind me. So, but then so that's why I wanted the closed soda with my closed box of popcorn and my closed box of Sour Patch Kids. That's what I got. So that when I climbed down, it would not be an issue. But now I'm standing there trying to climb down with this open, very full cup of soda. And I was like, why couldn't they just give me the bottle? Like, what's the difference? Because I heard someone, I didn't catch the whole conversation. There were some people in front of me asking something, and they were like, I heard the worker say, because Kevin doesn't want you to throw stuff at him. I don't know what the question was, but maybe that has to do with it. Maybe they were thinking the same thing I was thinking. They got a soda and they poured it and they were like, why can't I just have the bottle? Because Kevin doesn't. But like, I can throw the cup at him though, so it doesn't even make sense. None of it makes sense. I wanted the bottle, and all they did was create more plastic, more plastic waste. Because now the bottle is gone, and that plastic cup they put it in. So I was like, okay, fine. But anyways, that's whatever.
Yeah, that's why I with the stuff I didn't get a drink at all.
No, you didn't get a drink. Did you just get popcorn?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. The popcorn was fine. It wasn't like great. It was just like normal popcorn. Anyways,
The fuck?
let's get to the thing that people want to hear. They want to hear about the show.
Yeah, they do.
So we sat there and then all of a sudden it was starting. The opening acts were coming out.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the guys' names. He had like a bunch of old dudes opening. They were all
Yeah.
old, like in their 40s, black men,
Yes.
and just talking about being old. I couldn't really relate. I had a hard time with their material because they were really just complaining about their old bodies and just getting old.
Oh, and
But
they were talking about relationships.
yeah, they were talking about like being married a long time and like all that kind of stuff. And that's not really anything I can relate to. So I kind of had a hard time with some of it. I think I think that was more for an older crowd. Like our mother probably enjoyed that a lot more than us because she can relate to that. Because she's actually their age.
I mean, there were some
Um,
jokes that actually got me.
yeah, some of it, like even if you haven't experienced it, it's still funny.
Yeah.
But I just didn't find. I think comedy is, for me, I prefer relatable, understandable comedy. And so for me, it wasn't relatable because they were really just talking about being old. And I'm not old. They were talking a lot about aging and like, yeah, relationships being in them for a long time and all that kind of stuff that's just not where I'm at in my life right now. But it was funny. I'm not gonna say that they were like bad comedians or anything because like there were definitely some. It was definitely funny. Just not really my cup of tea. But I recommend it if you're like in your 40s or 50s. I think you would really get a kick out of these guys. I don't remember what their names were. They kept telling us, and
Me
they
neither.
told us that one of them had a show on BET. I just don't remember what their names were. I'm sure I could look it up and see who was Kevin Hart's opening act. But yeah, some of them were funny. And then I think it was like what, three guys
Yeah.
that came out before him, and then Kevin came out. And
Yeah.
man, the crowd was roaring. And I
Yeah,
was
of
very
course.
excited. I was like, "Oh my God, that's Kevin Hart! That's really him! He's here!"
Yes.
And he came out and he did like, I want to say at least an hour. It was hard to tell. We didn't have our watches on either. I did sneak mine in. I didn't You're supposed to put it in the bag that gets locked, but I was wearing long sleeves and they didn't see it, so I just kept it and I was kind of checking the time. I had my Apple Watch. I was checking the time a little bit. I was trying not to let it be seen because I didn't want to get kicked out, so I wasn't like texting or anything. But yeah, I think he did like a solid hour on stage, and he had a lot of, like, his jokes. He did talk about being old, but then like he was
Mhm.
also talking. He also does the race stuff. He talks a lot about being black in his comedy,
Yes.
and that's something I can relate to. So I found him to obviously be the best one. Of course, he's Kevin Hart, and he did a lot of long bits, a lot of callbacks. Like you can tell he's truly a professional. He's truly a stand-up comedian because of the way that he set things up and knocked them down. Like it all connected. Even though it feels like we're on a new bit, this bit connects to the thing that he said before, and he's gonna say like, it's really cool. I'm not gonna try to do any of the jokes because I'm not gonna do it justice. But if you haven't
No.
seen Kevin Hart live, it's sick. I don't think I've actually seen any of his specials though, like on Netflix or anything.
No. I've seen clips.
Yeah, I've seen clips. I don't think I've actually sat down and watched any of his stuff. You know what I did? There was the one that he did when he was in a ring, a boxing ring or a UFC ring or something. He performed
Yeah.
like it was a 360 arena. There were people all the way around him, and it was like a fighting ring, I think. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm mistaken. It was a long time ago that I watched it, but it was hilarious. And yeah, so what did you think of Kevin?
I think he's funny. Really funny.
He's very funny. Yeah.
Yes.
I I really I really liked how you have to pay attention because it all can, like, it's one whole show even though it feels like it's separate. And I really felt like his material was, it was very solid, and it wasn't unlike the other his opening acts. His material was not just about, I really, he sprinkled it in. It's the tour was called Acting My Age. And so yeah, it's going to be about being old because he's old. But he also talked about his kids, and even his jokes about being old were funny to me, even though I can't relate to them. I still like hit the way he told it was still funny. I don't know. I really liked it, but let's talk about the highlight of the evening. Now, you may be thinking, you've already talked about Kevin Hart. Wasn't he the highlight of the evening? No.
Oh.
The highlight of the evening was this woman that was sitting behind us cackling the whole time. She was the star of the show. Let me tell y'all something. I know at first you're thinking it's a comedy show. You're supposed to laugh. No, 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 no. This woman was laughing
Yeah.
unnecessarily loud, obnoxiously loud. And let me also add another detail. This woman was laughing during the setups, not the punchline. She would laugh while he was doing the setup. Nothing funny had even been said yet. And
Yes.
she would just start cackling. And then we couldn't hear the whole setup of the joke throughout all of the acts. But during the
Yep.
most of it was happening during Kevin. She would go,
Mhm.
it was just like that. It was like that. So loud directly behind us. And then we could not hear all the setups of the jokes. So then sometimes Kevin would get to the punchline, and then I would be like, wait, I don't really get it because I couldn't hear the setup because this lady behind us that was
Yes.
just cackling.
I mean, I could barely hear it.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, it was kind of audible, but at the same time, it's like it's
I,
50-50 for me.
I
I would
was
say.
like, y'all gonna need to turn up the speakers in the back because I cannot
Yes.
hear y'all over this loud woman. And she was talking too. She kept
Yes.
making commentary. I was like,
So,
can you
what you mean? It's like
what?
it's fine. I mean, what you mean is fine. I did a little bit, but I actually did it in a very low whisper.
That this woman was acting like she was at her house watching it on
That's
Netflix.
that is exactly what I was also thinking.
Like when you go out in public, you have to be conscientious of other people. You have to be courteous. And she
Yeah,
had, it was like she had no self-awareness. Like no one's ever taken her outside before. Cuz she was fully acting like she was at her house and she had this on Netflix. You can laugh like that at home. You cannot laugh like that out in public.
of course not.
Like there's other people trying to hear what's happening. Like we all paid a lot of money for these seats, you know. Our section, most of it was $150 a ticket. And that's a lot of money for an evening. And so we're all sitting there, we've paid all this money, and this woman is cackling so loud that we can't even enjoy ourselves completely. Man, I did not like that. She was so
Mm,
rude. I wish someone would have told her to shut up. I wish I was that kind of person. There are some people like that will turn around and say
yes,
something.
yeah, definitely.
And we're not those people. You, me,
Nope.
and our mother are just not that kind of person. If you're that kind of person, let us know in the comments. Would you have turned around and told that woman to shut up? Would you have said something? Because it's very difficult. It's more like this is the kind of thing that you you really have to just complain about on your podcast.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. This is the kind of thing you just complain about on your podcast. You can't say anything in person. I mean, we're never going to see that woman again. It just doesn't really feel fair that we also, like, she paid for her experience, but we paid for ours, and she was taking
Yes.
away from our experience that we paid for, being so loud, you know?
Yes.
She was just she had a great time. That's what I know. I'm sure
Yeah.
if she has a podcast, loud woman out there, if you got a podcast, I'm sure she's on there just ranting and raving about how what a great time she had. No complaints. Man. But anyways, I think that wraps it up. Like all in all, it was a good time, and it was it's always cool to see someone that
Yes.
you've liked for a long time, and you've only ever seen them on a screen. To see them in person is always a different experience. I've never seen Kevin Hart in person before, and so it was like a really cool experience to like see him in the flesh, live in front of
Yes.
me. Like that was really cool.
Yeah, it is.
And it was a sold out show. The house was packed. And so yeah, it was actually really cool to see him. You know what? I'm gonna rate this experience an 8.3. 8.7.
Yeah.
Lose points for how expensive the concessions are. Lose points for the loud cackling woman.
Mm.
Oh, and lose points for not being able to use my phone. Let me dock that back down. 8.2.
I'll just give it a solid 8.
An 8? Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good show.
It was a good show.
Yes.
And that concludes this episode and this season of Take It With a Grain of Sand. Wow, thank you guys so much for listening to us for 30 episodes. That it's wild. And I
Yeah.
think it's now time to say the thing that we say. That you need to
Yes.
remember to always take it with a grain of
Take it with a
sand.
grain of sand.
That was almost at the same time.
Almost.